In a world with flat screen TVs, instant access to anything your little green heart desires, and scary creatures in your walls, it can be hard for one to fall asleep. But fear not, man's deepest question has finally been answered. What happens if a queer POC with autism started a podcast where he talks you to sleep with his delusional rants while you sit there with your fat gut out? You get
Bedtime with Major's Bedtime with... Welcome back to Bedtime with Major. Another episode. Episode 5. How are you doing? Feels like it's been forever since the last episode. It's only been 1 week since the last episode. So, I have no idea what I'm going to talk about on this episode. Last episode was pretty good. Last episode was great. This episode feels like a fever dream already. As soon as I started, I'm back in the delirious state. The delirious state. I'm in sweatpants and a hoodie, and it's like 39 degrees out. It's pretty warm. Pretty warm for Minnesota. First day of spring, it's springtime. It's springtime in America. It's springtime in Minnesota. It's a nice time to be alive. It's a nice time to be a human. Nice time to be an American. Is springtime in Minnesota, springtime in America, in general. Some people are I don't know if you'd call them lucky, but they live in places where it basically is spring all year round until summer. Those places usually aren't the best places to be, but that's the pros. For example, California, a lot of them don't even know that winter exists. They don't even know what snow is. I remember this was years and years ago, as I was actually a small child. I remember I was exposed to this reality show of this man who lived in California, and there's this part in the show. I have no idea what show it is. I forgot what it was, but there's this part in the reality show where he's in California. It's Christmas, and there's a little bit of snow, and he runs out of his house, and he looks up, and he's like in shock. He's in shock because he sees snow for the first time, and he's like, whoa! He's got like this big giant T-shirt on. He's like 300 pounds, and he just looks up into the sky. And he sees snow for the first time in his life, and he reaches out his hands, and he's just like, "It's snowing!" And they're pointing the cameras around and everything. I don't even know what the point of me telling you that was, but that's what I was trying to get at. Is that there's some people out there who don't even know what snow is in California. At least not in like Los Angeles. You go to like Tahoe, Lake Tahoe. They have a lot of snow there, but those people don't even exist on the radar of anybody. When you tell somebody you're from California, they're thinking palm trees, they're thinking beaches. They're not thinking of your little townhouse in Lake Tahoe where you don't ever leave. They don't even leave Lake Tahoe. They just stay there all year round. There's no summer houses for Californians who live in Lake Tahoe. They just stay there. That's the common Californian mindset though. Is complacency. Complacency while acting like you're actually making progress is like the ultimate Californian mindset. I don't even know why I started this tangent of California. I just was talking about springtime. It's daylight savings. We add an hour, don't we? No, we lose an hour. I lost an hour of sleep. Technically, I'm waking up at 5 a.m. now instead of 6 a.m. So my brain's at 5 a.m. capacity. It's operating at 6 a.m. By the time I get to climbing towers for my job, by the time I get to doing that, it's operating at 6 a.m. capacity, not 7 a.m. capacity. So I'm more likely to fall off the tower and die, is what I'm saying. But it's nice though. The ice is melting. We don't have that many people at my job slipping off of the towers and falling, so we can't really commit insurance fraud that easily. Although year round, even especially when it rains, people slip off and die, and then they fake like they got injured. It's just a fun time for us all. We actually have a board in the office, full of names, and the first person who can get like a $1 million lawsuit, gets to be employee of the month. Yeah. So far I've had $3 million lawsuits. But enough of that. Back to California and complacency and acting like you're progressing when you're actually not. When actually, in actuality, all you're doing is regressing. That's the most Californians do, is they regress. Are they even like aware of the world outside of Los Angeles? I've always wondered this. If you're from California and listening to this, please comment. Do you understand the world around you? Do you realize that there's more places than Los Angeles and New York City? Do people in Los Angeles realize that? That the so-called flyover states that they're talking about aren't actually flyover states. They're places that they haven't discovered something to gentrify yet. I don't know. Speaking of gentrification is everywhere. It's all around you. You can go to any city, any town, you'll see gentrification happening all around you. It's scary. It's scary that these privileged, not even privileged, it's just, like I was saying 2 episodes ago, it's just so hard to be a suburban white person. It's scary. It's hard. Your life is so hard. Most violent crimes happen to suburban white people. It's a scary thought that they don't have more, that they're not gentrifying at a higher rate. It's a scary thought that as people in New York would say, this is not my words, people in New York would say, it's scary to think that there will be a white flight again from New York City. And eventually it'll become like it was back in the 70s, where it was just a ghetto. Why was the world so torn up back before, pre-90s? The world was just like a dangerous place where you couldn't go anywhere in the entire world without being stabbed. But somehow the world is more dangerous nowadays. And I don't know if that's because of war. War has become more accepted, or maybe I don't know. Speaking of war, World War III, we talked about it last episode. We'll talk about it again. World War III is happening. I'm trying to tell you guys, World War III is going to happen. This is unavoidable. There's two equally terrifying realities here for our government. Is either they think the stuff that they're doing now is not gonna get us into war, or World War III is impossible, it can't happen, so they're just doing whatever they want because they're World War III, nobody wants to fight a world war. Or the other option, which is more real, by the way, which is probably the truth. The other option is that they're aware of that the actions they're doing right now is going to cause World War III. In fact, it feels like Biden and Putin are just shaking hands right now, going, hey, let's do it. You see, the president of China, actually, I forgot how you say it, Xi Jinping, right? Something like that, Xi Jinping? The Winnie the Pooh guy, the highway guy, Winnie the Pooh. They met yesterday, I believe. They met yesterday. By the way, it's the 21st when I'm recording this, so my dates might be a little off for you because it's coming out on Wednesday for you. But yeah, so the president of China and Putin, they met up. They had a little discussion. I didn't actually watch anything of it. I didn't read it. I just saw a bunch of headlines saying that they met up. So I don't know what that's about. I don't know what exactly him and Winnie the Pooh could talk about. China is a scary place because they're we've never really seen them in a war act. We've never really seen them in like a war like a modern war-like instance, I guess. But correct me if I'm wrong. Like, but I don't think we've ever seen China in like a modern warfare instance where like China is actually going out and with like guns and like shooting things. I don't think we've ever seen that. Not even like the Middle East. It's weird. Like, we've never seen China actually fight, but we know they're powerful. But we've never seen them like actually go out there and fight. I mean, like they have a military, they train, they spy, but they don't fight. So like I don't understand. We don't really know like what they're capable of. By the way, I'm not trying to be like this serious this fast into the podcast. But I don't know. I mean, if you just like hearing me talk, it doesn't really matter, right? Come on. This podcast is literally nothing. Like, I don't understand. Anyways, let's not even go into that right now. Let's get back to China. Let's get back to, the sweatshop central shine the country. 1 billion people for some. Why more men than women? So, sort of a sausage party over there. My nose is kind of stuffy right now, so I'm sorry if I sound a little silly and weird and goofy. But regardless, yeah. So we've never really seen them in a sense of like fighting, Although them floating multiple giant satellites over our country, it's a little suspicious. I don't know. They're saying it's for weather. We all know it's not for weather. Everybody in China and here knows it's not for weather. So I don't know why they even tried to say that. Like, who's going to believe that? Who is going to believe that? Nobody. So, I mean, just imagine like, okay, this like okay, to like actually get like a real like perspective on this, to actually show you like how weird this would be. Imagine like, I don't know. Imagine being in your room, right? You're in your room. You're enjoying yourself. You're enjoying your day. You're on your phone. You're scrolling through TikTok. You're looking at, Charli D'Amelio doing like the 30,000 TikTok dance. You're watching putty videos. You're watching Family Guy clips with like gameplay under them. And like somebody in a random drone with a camera on it just flies into your like glides into your room, right? You hear like the buzzing from your hallway, and then you just hear it come in there, and then it just hovers above you. This drone, this like little remote control drone just hovers above you, and it's just sitting there. And then you're like, what? Like, whose drone is this? And like no one's around or whatever. And then you knock down the drone, and then the owner comes and knocks on your door, and he's like, hey, I was just flying my drone in like public space. I was just flying my drone because I want a good aerial camera angles. I want a good aerial shots of my neighborhood, of the woods behind your house. That's all I wanted. Like, that's what China did. That's literally what China did. Isn't that a little weird? Is that not strange? Am I the only one who thinks that's... Why did we all just forget about that? There's so many things that are happening right now that we're all just forgetting about. Speaking of drones, the drone of ours that got knocked down into the Black Sea, no one's talking about it. And yet, I feel like as soon as things actually start to get like... As soon as things start to like pop off, like for real... My dog is barking. As soon as things start to pop off, like for real, I feel like we're actually gonna like they're all gonna start bringing it up again. By the way, I feel like Biden I don't think he's like he's like a corpse. We have a corpse in office, right? So I don't think he would actually have anything really of value to say or do. 100%, I feel like he'd be coerced by like either his family or like one of his buddies, like the Secretary of Defense or Kamala Harris. Although Kamala doesn't really care about, she doesn't really care about like outside affairs. Honestly, what has she done except for lock up black people for an eighth of weed? Like, what has she done except for lock people up for an eighth of weed in prison for 30 years? I don't understand. Even Biden signed the crime bill. Biden has done more. He's done more like warring acts on his own society, on his own country, than he has to actual other countries. You know. And I'm not saying that we need to like be mean to other countries. I'm not saying that we need to start like conflicts all the time. But like when your president so obviously just wants to wrangle up, he wants to wrangle us up like a farm animals. When your president wants to wrangle you up so bad like a farm animal, it's just, I don't know, like it's weird. Is it not weird? Isn't that weird that like they do more affirmative action for their own people than like affirmative action for things that cross a boundary that isn't from our nation? Like foreign affairs isn't really a thing for Biden, isn't it? He went to Zelensky, I guess. Like he kept meeting up with Zelensky, but Zelensky just wants to be on the news. He just wants to be on the TV. He got denied going to the Oscars. Didn't this happen? I swear this happened. Zelensky got denied from going to this year's Oscars because he wanted to be on TV so bad. He's an actor. The world, I thought it was just an American thing. The entire world keeps getting famous like celebrities for presidents, for like leaders. Our that's how gone we are. Our world leaders are now not becoming, but like worse celebrities. You understand that having Zelensky in office would be like us. It would be like us. It would be like us getting like. It'd be like us getting like Brad Pitt in the office. It'd be like electing Lizzo. It'd be like electing Lizzo as vice president. You understand that? Or president. I'm not saying a woman of color or plus size can't be president. I'm just saying currently the vice president right now is a woman of color. And Kamala isn't of plus size. Although she has a big heart. She has a big smile. She laughs a lot. Kamala Harris laughs at anything because she's a MK Ultra. She's a pre-programmed MK Ultra reptilian. That's why she laughs at everything. I'm telling you. Everything is just, it's like, I don't know. It all feels so planned out. I feel like Biden got like a lobotomy or something, and that's why he's like that. I feel like something like a chip is like in his brain. Because Biden is a completely different person than he was like during the Obama presidency. I don't know what made him have this big change of heart where like all of a sudden he's like a Democrat and he has like these really progressive thoughts and he is inclusive and he likes everybody, he loves everybody. I don't know what happened with the switch up because Biden was very against gay marriage. He was against decriminalizing drugs, such as, I mean, not even drugs, decriminalizing weed. I mean, like, he tried to criminalize it more. He aided in the further criminalization of that substance, and furthermore getting people into prison for nonviolent drug crimes. Like, I mean, even to this day, even like 40%, this is real, by the way, like 40% of prisoners to this day is due to like non-violent drug crimes, like possession or trafficking, like that. Even like 40, that's almost half. That's almost half of the prisoners you see. And it gets even crazier when you realize that there's almost more people in prison in America than there is people free, and it's like, it's a little weird to think about. Like, that, back on the topic of him like having more affirmative action over his own people than foreign affairs. It's a little questionable, you know? But I mean, I don't know. This whole talk has gone on long enough. This isn't really that funny. This isn't that rant-like. It's just like a weird banter I'm doing. This whole podcast is just banta. I mean, like, British people founded this country, and what do British people like to do? They like to send people off and put them into prisons. So, I guess our British ancestors, our British forefathers, the founding fathers, I guess they're not that far off from us, right? Considering that we're like, we just keep sending people to prison. Australia, again, back on Australia, back on America. They both start with A's. They both start with A's, and we're both in prison. America's solution to every single problem is put them in prison. Kill them or put them in prison. That is that is literally the two options that America has, is kill them or put them in prison. Don't ask America what we did to like Asian people in the 1940s. All right? Don't ask them about the camps. There was a lot of camps in the 1940s though. There was a lot of camps, you know? So we can't blame America fully on the camps. The Germans were getting a little goofy with that as well. So, but still, we were putting people in camps. Even I, the most merciful, generous person, even I sometimes I'm like, let's just put these people in camps. Let's just put them in a camp. I feel like that would be, honestly, I can see the logic in America. I can see the logic in American people putting people in camps. You know? Not even government issued. It's like civilian enforced camps. It's not a bad idea. I can see the they have a point. Even if it's wrong, they have a point. That's what I've discovered about like morality, by the way, and like this tangent. Okay, before I start this tangent, I just want to preface that I don't agree with a lot of very immoral, evil things. I don't agree with any of those bad historical things that happened in history, that happened recently and a long time ago. I don't agree with any of those. I'm sure you can infer that, but just so we're clear, I don't agree with any bad things that happened in history. However, there's some of them have a point. Some of them have elements of things that's a point, but they're wrong. For example, 9/11. Oh my god. 9/11. The Arabic men, aren't they? They're from Saudi Arabia, right? Yeah, I think so. The Arabic men who hijacked the planes. If you were there, right? If you were in the plane and you could sit down with them as they were had the box cutters out, about to drive it into the buildings, fly it right into the buildings, break the sound barrier before you hit it, so it's just a crash. But anyways, this is 10 minutes before that, right? If you were in the plane, you could sit down with one of the guys who did it. Excuse me. And you were like, I had some pizza, so that's why I'm burping. If you were like, hey, why are you doing this? Why do you think this is okay to do? And he was like, my country and the countries surrounding it has been undeservingly invaded by American forces, ordered by oligarchs in office to start a proxy war in order for shadow corporations to further invade into my country, steal our resources like oil and uranium and other precious resources, in order for that, while committing mass genocide. Well, borderline mass genocide, almost crossing the border into violating the Geneva Convention. Since the beginning of the late 80s, I'd be like, okay, what you're doing is bad, but you have a point. Does he not have a point? Am I bad? Am I wrong for saying this? Does he not have like a point though? Like he has a point, but I'm not saying to take that point and kill 3,000 people in one day and drive and fly a plane into the Twin Towers. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that he has a point. He has a point. But he's bad. Another example. This one's way worse, by the way. Well, depending on how you feel. This one's way worse. And no, it's not Nazis. No, it's not slavery. It's close. It's close. It's in between. It's the in between of Nazis and slavery. The KKK. They're bad guys. They are bad guys. I'm not saying they're good at all. They are horrible people that don't deserve to be listened to. They don't deserve to be focused on, to be talked about in any way except for negative or invalidating them. They don't deserve to be they are very bad people with bad ideas and thoughts. But when they're like, hey, maybe we shouldn't like abort babies when they're like 2 days away from being born. Maybe like is that not like a good point? Is that not a good point? Is that not a good point? That maybe we shouldn't like kill babies in the womb that are like 10 days away from coming out, like it's basically formed, right? Because some people actually try to push that, like the very, very extreme minority of people who are pro-choice go the extra step further, and they're like, hey, until it's out, we can kill it. Like, I feel like that is not a bad point. Is that not a bad point? I'm not saying they're good, but I'm saying what my entire point of this rant here, of this tangent, is that bad people can sometimes have good thoughts. They're still bad. They're still very bad. And reminder, this is all for entertainment. I don't stand by these completely. But sometimes bad people have good thoughts. Bad execution, good ideas. And that's why I think, hey, we should just put some people into camps. Not death camps. Not, they are going to go take a shower. Not that. I'm not talking about that at all. I'm not talking about, stuffing them in a chamber and turning on the gas valve. That's not what I'm talking about. Not those, just like a camp. Not even a conversion camp. Not even like a gay conversion camp or whatever. But just a camp. Just a little retreat that you can't necessarily leave when you want. But it's just a nice retreat that you can't leave. You can't leave the retreat. But it's just a camp. It's a fun time. You sit around the bonfire. You want to go home? You can't. You can't go home. But it's not that bad. We have s'mores, we play water polo in the gymnasium. We run around we go hiking, but you can't go home. And I was thinking, if I could choose one group of people that I could put in a camp right now in the modern landscape of America, I would probably choose MAGA supporters. And I know that's the most controversial thing I've ever said on this podcast. MAGA supporters, right? But no, seriously though. Like, I don't, because the thing is, if these people are like unleashed on the world right now. these people are unleashed on the world right now, and honestly, I don't even know if they're as bad as it could get. I mean, they might be like the sanest. Maybe we should all just walk around with a gun. Walk around with a gun. Open carry. Go to wherever, BLM protest or Antifa protest. Go to the nearest one and just walk. Just don't even. I'm not saying to shoot anybody. I'm not saying to cause any sort of violence at all. I'm just saying just walk around with a rifle. Kyle did it. Now, of course, his situation didn't turn out the best. He got away with it, though. Because he was protecting the business. He was protecting the businesses. Guys, he was protecting the businesses. Mother of the Year award goes to her, by the way. To Kyle's mom. Mother of the Year award goes to her. Let's give my 17-year-old son an AR-15 and drive him across state borders to a riot, to an Antifa riot. Burning buildings like it's hell. This country got turned into hell for 1 year. It was desolate. It was burning. But it was like chaos all at the same time. But anyways, yeah, Mother of the Year award goes to her. A son couldn't ask for a better mom. Who doesn't want to be driven all the way to Wisconsin, dropped off, and catch a few bodies? Peel some caps. But in the name of protecting businesses that you don't go to, or you don't live by, or you've never bought from, you've never seen. But you're protecting them, though. You're going to a town that you've never lived in, that you've never walked around in, that you've never, But you're protecting it. Because that's your God-given right. It's walking around with a... Not owned by him, by the way. The rifle wasn't owned by Kyle. Okay? Let's get that straight. He's under 18. Wielding a rifle. AR-15. But who's in the wrong in that situation? Obviously Kyle. There is some wrong. He is a bad person. The people who attacked him may have not been the best either. I'm not saying Antifa's bad. Anti-fascist, that is the right message. That is the perfect message. You couldn't get a better message than anti-fascist. That's like how morally black and white could it be? You have anti-fascist and then you have fascist. What? But the people in Antifa, they may not be the best. The gentrifiers, honestly, if I was at that riot or protest or whatever you want to call it, and I saw Kyle pull up, get out of the car, right before he heads to the crowd, right before he heads to the main street to blow off a PDF file's head, clean off. Right before he goes to do that, I'd be like, hey, people who look like me, leave us alone. But those guys over there, the white guy with a man bun and a skateboard, those are the gentrifiers. Those are the problem. He's doing us. I'm saying he's doing us a favor. He may be doing us a favor, even though we don't agree with him. We don't agree with him at all. At least I don't. I don't agree with Kyle Rittenhouse. I don't agree with the idea of getting driven all the way over there to shoot people up in the name of protecting businesses. I don't agree with that. But I'm just saying the people who got shot were not... There wasn't a big loss. We didn't lose anybody big. It wasn't a bad loss. One MAGA supporter guy getting off scot-free from murder, for 3 counts of murder, getting off scot-free. in exchange for the death of not only a possible gentrifier, but also a PDF file, which if you don't know what I'm trying to say, it's the one where they eat pizza with cheese on it. Epstein-coded person. And Epstein identifies, the man identified as a Epstein self. Epstein they, Epstein them. Epsteiny, Epsteiner. I just feel that the trade-off isn't that bad. So, what I'm trying to say is look at the bright side of your situations. Bad people, bad things, bad situations. You go to camp. It's a fun time. Look at the bright side. Sure, you can't leave the camp. Sure, you can't leave the camp. You can't leave at all. But it's fun. So, I mean, you know, the complaining is, you can't complain. It's fun. But speaking of looking on the bright side of things, this was a very fast episode, by the way. Speaking of looking on the bright side of things, I feel like it's time for your favorite segment and mine. Feel good news. Let's get into the topics, the headlines. Let's get into the topics and headlines for the day for Feel Good News. Let's get into it. I'm ready. I got things ready. I got a lineup right now. All right. First story of Feel Good News for today, for this week actually. Here's the first headline. Portland firefighters rescue 14-year-old dog that fell 23 feet down an open manhole. So, this is that, what do insurance companies call it? It's like premium, like platinum diamond service. Platinum diamond membership service. This is what I want my tax dollars to go to. Is Portland firefighters rescuing a 14-year-old, which, by the way, hold on, let me break out a calculator. I'm very bad at math. So forgive me. But so this is a 98-year-old dog. 98 years old in dog years. This is the equivalent of a 98-year-old man. I mean, not the last Feel Good News, but the one before it, we talked about an old man in a Jeep almost dying. Well, he tried to kill himself, but this teen saved him from drowning, him and his dog. So I'm guessing this is the same dog from the Jeep scenario, and it decided to go Lone Ranger. It decided to go Lone Ranger and try to kill itself. But this is what I want my tax dollars to go to. Is the Portland firefighters rescuing a 14-year-old, 98 years old dog falling down a 23-foot open manhole, which is a very comical incident, by the way. An open manhole, you're walking into an open manhole. That's very comical. That's like almost on purpose. And I'm not saying this dog didn't need to be saved. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that it didn't deserve to be saved. But there wasn't like an apartment fire or something. There wasn't like I don't know, there wasn't like a trash fire. There wasn't like a cat stuck in a tree, like a kitten, a baby kitten. This is the platinum diamond tax dollars. This is the platinum diamond service. Sometimes gold, but this is the platinum diamond service that I expect my tax dollars to go to. Same with insurance. You know? If I ever break my toe, right? And I'm in the doctor's office, and then they make me pay $4,000 out of pocket for a cup of water. That's a platinum diamond That's platinum diamond money. That's what I pay for. I go, wowza, I can't believe I'm getting this amazing service for a doctor to tell me that it's probably strep as my leg turns blue and gangrenous. It's probably strep. I'm thinking it's strep. Even though your throat is fine, you're not coughing, you have no strep symptoms, I'm thinking it's strep. Yeah. And you know what? They're right. Because that's what you get for platinum diamond money. Platinum diamond service. Sometimes I want to downgrade to gold. I want to downgrade to silver even. Because I feel like I don't deserve to be this pampered by insurance companies and emergency services. You call the cops as a maniac is trying to rip off your pants in order to just violently rape you. I'm not saying that's funny, by the way. Rape is not funny. Trigger warning. I should have put that. I should have put that in the beginning. I should have put that in front of it. But rape is not funny. That's not the funny part. There's nothing funny about this. I'm being serious. When a violent maniac is chasing you down in a dark alleyway, and he's closing in on you, and you call the police to help you, and they take 30 minutes to dispatch a single manned car. That's what I'm paying for. That's where my tax dollars are going to. That's the platinum diamond service that I am paying for. You know? And so is when I'm hanging out of a window. I'm hanging out of a window. My entire apartment is engulfed in flames. And I'm hanging out a window, like a 3-story window. I can't jump out or I'll die. I have to get saved by like the big crane thing on a fire engine. And the flames are hitting the back of my heels. That's on my heels. I have like 10 seconds to live before I either die of smoke inhalation or a blaze of glory. And meanwhile, the fire engine that could be there saving me is saving a 98-year-old dog that fell 23 feet down a manhole. I just gotta say, wow. Now that is the platinum diamond service that my hard-earned tax dollars go to. The 20% they take out of my income. That's where it's going to. You know? And we love to see it. We love to see the feel good platinum diamond service. We love it. I say, wowza. Wowza. I just can't believe I'm this privileged as I have politicians tied up in my trunk and I'm barreling down the highway. As I have Kamala Harris tied up in my back seat, gag in her mouth. I'm saying, wow. What a lucky guy I am. Shucks. But moving on, plowing ahead. We have our second headline for Feel Good News today. This one's a little odd. I don't really know if you want to feel good about this. But here's the headline. Hatchet-wielding attacker subdued during wild attack caught on camera at California gym. So this guy with a hatchet, he comes up, he says, I've had it. This probably is a Planet Fitness. That's what this is the real story. This guy went to Planet Fitness once, and he was like, I'm sick of it. If this was Gold's Gym, he wouldn't go in there and do that. This was Planet Fitness. So he grabs his hatchet. He says, I'm over it. I'm over it. If I can take out one and then die, that's enough for me. If I can get shot up by the police, but I take out at least one Planet Fitness, that's enough for me. So he grabs his hatchet, makes his way to Planet Fitness. He enters in. As soon as he gets in, hey, sir, are you a member? Please scan your member card, sir. Sir, it's $20 a month to be a part of Planet Fitness. Scan it right now. And he's not even filled with rage. He just stops and he just starts looking for his little card to scan it. Because even though he came there to attack people with a hatchet, he still wants to be a good Samaritan. You know? He doesn't, because he hasn't experienced another gym before. So the only gym experience he has is Planet Fitness. So he stops and he looks for his card. And as he was looking for his card, an off-duty police officer. An off-duty police officer running on a treadmill. He looks over and he sees this man with a hatchet. And this off-duty police officer happens to be bald. And he hops off. He walks over to the man with the hatchet. He says, Hey, what are you doing with that? What are you doing with that? Now, before we continue the story, I actually want to do a flashback for this police officer while he's on duty. The day before, he is in his police cruiser on break, and he makes a TikTok. He makes a TikTok video. He makes a TikTok video of him sitting there in his police cruiser, holding a gun up, and there's baby noises, by the way. It's like the noise for the TikTok video is baby noises, and it's a baby laughing, and he holds his Glock up and he goes, yeah, like the baby noises is like laughing, and he's like lip syncing with the baby noises, and then he puts down the gun, and he picks up paperwork, and then the baby noises switch to crying baby noises, and he goes, and he's lip syncing to the crying baby noises, and he has the files up in the camera, and he's like wah wah wah, and then he picks up the Glock again, and then it goes back like 2 times after that. So anyways, smash cut back to him asking what he's doing with the hatchet. That time in the flashback, he's already got him on the ground, choking him out. He's choking him out. He's choking the guy out with the hatchet, and all the guy wanted to do was just save the world from another Planet Fitness. You know? Planet Fitness is the only gym where you go there and they'll offer you cupcakes. They'll offer you pizza. They'll offer you a whole pizza for yourself. They'll have pizza party. They'll have a pizza party. Can you imagine that? That's literally, no, because that's like going into a rehab center and being like, we're going to have a crack party. Hey, guess who's got the heroin? It's Heroin Monday, guys. Let's have a good time. That's exactly what Planet Fitness does. Do you understand that it's a twisted rehabilitation center for the most common American, which is a large, loud person, large, loud, and demanding? Do you understand that's what it is? So, anyways, he was trying to save us from that. He was trying to save us from another cycle of large, loud, demanding people being even larger and louder and more demanding. They can't be loud on Planet Fitness, though, because if you're loud on Planet Fitness, they have the lunk alert. But the lunk alert only goes off if you're fit. If you're fit and making noises while working out, the lunk alarm goes off. But if you're not fit, you're encouraged, because this is a judgment-free zone. It's a judgment-free zone, and that hatchet was the so-called judgment. God judges you. He sends down an angel with a giant sword, and the angel chops off your head. That hatchet was the angel with the sword. It was Judgment Day. It was Judgment Day. It was Judgment Day, and he did not get to play it out. So, moving ahead, the next headline is, Woman starts recycling center at home, helping neighbors combat waste. All right, so here I actually have the full article here. Over the last 4 years, Liz Pinfield Wells has recycled 2,600 pounds of waste that her city's garbage collectors won't pick up. The Dolly, England. Okay? Anyways, the Dolly, England resident started her own recycling center at home when she learned her baby's food pouches could not be recycled by the city. Here's a quote, by the way. So I don't, should I read this in an English accent? Our family has always done what we can, where we can as a household to help reduce our carbon footprint and recycle as much as possible. Pinfield Wells told SWNS. Since first inviting her neighbors to drop off their trash, dozens have taken Pinfield Wells up on her offer, and she sorts everything into 30 categories of recyclable waste. She then sends everything to TerraCycle, where it is recycled into small pellets that are turned into items like benches. The money she earns is donated to local causes, including community garden and her daughter's gymnastics team. All right, so that's a feel good news right there. An English woman recycling, you know? Isn't that crazy that's how like bad the world has got? Where a random English lady deciding to recycle is like international news. Isn't that insane? We're running out of good news. Feel good news might not be a segment because we're running out of good things that are happening. I mean, one of the things on here was a hatchet wielding man who got taken out by an off-duty police officer. So, like that's how far we are now. That's how far we are. Where it's just horrible. Like recycling, really? If it's that easy to get on the news, could I just start recycling right now? Because I don't recycle that much. I try to recycle. Recycling bins are way less common than you think. They're common in schools. They're common in cities, like in downtown areas. But like if you're like a little bit out of like a downtown area, there's like nothing. There's nothing. And you can't throw the recycling in like other people's recycling bins because that's like rude, isn't it? Yeah. But anyways. So yeah, you know, she takes the money, doesn't keep it. Very surprising. Very surprising. She doesn't keep the money. She just feeds it back into things that will benefit her anyways. So she's basically keeping the money. She's paying for her daughter's gymnastics, which she'll probably not even have any passion for in like a year. And then she's also investing in the community garden. The community garden. You know, we have a community garden at my apartment. And it's sad. It has tomatoes sometimes. Sometimes we just have nothing there. It's just all dead. Because nobody cares about a community garden. Who cares about a community garden? Who? Yeah, you're going to feed the whole population with a community garden, right? Idiot. Fucking dumbass. Are you serious? That's what you do with the money that you get? Is invested in a community garden? How is that going to help recycling? Really cutting down emissions on that, right? Okay, whatever. You know what? Whatever. Do what you want. It's fun. Community gardens are fun. And they're pretty. They liven up the neighborhood. Yeah. That's feel good news, people. I hope you enjoyed the feel good news segment. We haven't even checked any if we got any messages. If we got any questions or comments or statements for the podcast, that you're listening to, Bedtime with Major. Here we go. Let's see if we even have any, by the way. We might not even have any, I don't know. At least any that we can actually like read on here. Reading and all that. I mean, yeah. Okay, we have nothing so far. We have nothing that we can read on here. But, yeah. So that's feel good news. I do want to do more with this podcast. I don't know what. Who knows? Maybe you'll get a little special thing the next episode. Who knows? We don't know. We'll see. You're going to have to wait a week to get a little special thing. Maybe a special skit. A special segment. Who knows? I sure don't. Because I don't plan anything out for this podcast. We just sort of started and go. You know? This episode felt very short. I talked about Biden in World War III for like 20 minutes. I'm sorry for that. That was probably my longest like little rant I've ever had in my life. Every podcast episode, I feel so delirious and tired, and I don't know why. I think it's just having to like, my brain has to work so hard to like formulate like a coherent podcast, you know? Because usually I get home and I don't talk, I don't speak, my mouth doesn't open up to form words. I just sort of sit there and exist. But yeah, my abs are sore because I did an ab workout. You know, I always rotate in between, you know. Yeah. Yeah. I've been liking myself a lot, you know. I've been doing me. I weighed myself today because we have like a random weight thing. What do you call it? It's like a what do they call them? Step on the what? Step on the thing that takes your weight? The thing that takes your weight? Oh, am I stupid? What is the thing? What measures weight? A weight? What measures weight? A scale. I stepped on the scale today and I'm 151.0. But I was 151.1 because I had pee in me. But then I went to go pee and I was 151.0. So, average weight for 5'7", that's great. At least I'm not 140, you know what I'm saying? I was 140 last year, but that's because I had no muscle on me. So, that's great. I don't know what else to talk about. Oh yeah, I've been liking myself. If I like you, we're already dating, and you don't even know it yet. You know who you are. You don't even know it. We're dating, but like you're not aware of it. But we are dating. If I like you, we're dating, but you don't know it. And honestly, it's kind of mean that you talk to like these other people because you're sort of leading them on because we're in a committed relationship. But you don't know. But we are in a committed relationship. We are dating. But, you know, you'll figure it out. We all figure it out. You figured out how to go to bed to this podcast. It's a good night podcast. I hope you had a good night's warm glass of milk or green tea. Have green tea. It's good for your liver. It's good for your colon. It's good for lowering cholesterol. It's good for avoiding cancers. It's good for your heart. You know, it's good for your digestive system. Have some green tea. It's good for you. Boil too. Boil water. Don't put it in the microwave. But just boil the water because it tastes better. It tastes better when you boil the water. Have some green tea. You know? And I hope you have a good night's rest. Or maybe you're studying, or maybe you're walking around. Maybe you're at your silly little minimum wage job at Marshall's or Walmart or Hy-Vee or Target or Burlington or Zales. Wherever you are, I hope you're having a good old time. I hope you're resting well if you are resting. And I hope if you are not resting, I hope eventually when you do get to the resting part of your day, that you rest well, that you rest good. But yeah, come in here a little closer like you did last episode. Hey, buddy. Hey. Well, I hope you had a good podcast. Remember, everything I say on this podcast is a joke. But the reason why some jokes are funny is because they have a little truth to them. I'm not saying they're true. Most things aren't true. Most things on the internet are not true at all. So don't believe anything you hear. And remember, folks, Ask for your parents' permission. And if you don't have parents, your guardian's permission. If you don't have a guardian, just do whatever you want. But ask for your parents' permission to go on the Spotify, on this website. Go to your mom right now, or your dad, or whoever, any source of power, even your teacher or your boss. Go to your boss right now, and be like, hey, can I listen to Bedtime with Major? And if they say no, cry. And if they say yes, we'll have a good time. But yeah, I hope you had a good time. I hope you loved this episode. This episode is either going to be really good or really bad when I listen back to it. I don't know. But yeah, Bedtime with Major. Let's get ready for World War III. And have a good night's Buddy Bye rest. Good night.